I bunked 158 students in just 2 weeks, so I think it's about time I extend that.
I will not be stopping bunking barely legals when I'm pregnant. In fact, I'm super excited to live stream.
Yeah? Would you do it again?
Every day.
Would you recommend me to a friend?
I'd recommend it to everyone.
Including you?
A dad. I think it's fantastic. Too many people, especially 18-year-olds, I know when I was at school, would argue with their dads or wouldn't have a good relationship with them. I think to have that much of a good relationship that you can come with your dad to sleep with me is fantastic.
This one's for the boys. If you're worried about the size of your down there, please do not, because you've just been watching videos for years and years and years of people in, well, they do it for a living, so they tend to be above average. They've also don't really have a 9 to 5 job, so they go to the gym and they're able to prioritize on the way they look. So don't ever compare yourself to.
Hey boys, are you ready to turn my tight end into a wide receiver? Can't wait.
Living in a world where we can pretty much do whatever we want sounds great, but with that freedom comes its fair share of problems and wild behavior. Take Bunnie Blue, for example. Over the past few months, she's become a real topic of conversation because of some pretty shocking and controversial things she's done, from claiming she slept with 1,000 men in a single day, to making disturbing comments about minors, to causing drama with her so-called co-creator Lily Phillips. Bunnie is no stranger to controversy. There's a lot going on around her, and we're here to fill you in on everything you need to know. But the big question is, who is Bunnie Blue? And what in the world led her down this path? Bunnie Blue, born Tia Billinger, didn't always live life as the wild online figure she is today. At around 26, she looks older than her age, thanks to the choices she's made and the things she's done, leading many to think she's actually in her 30s. Believe it or not, she was once a regular person, working a steady job in recruitment after finishing school.
Yeah.
So, well paid?
Yeah, average, sort of average pay, average annual leave, the whole thing to summarize it.
From recruiting people in the corporate industry to recruiting men for gangbang. That's truly ironic. While in the corporate industry, she was making a decent life for herself. Nothing out of the ordinary, but then things changed. Maybe it was the pleasure of the online world, with all the influencers and online baddies making a name for themselves. Maybe it was the influence of her peers. Whatever it was, Bunnie decided to change her career path and jump into the world of OnlyFans. She quickly made a name for herself by making shocking, provocative statements, such as openly admitting to associating with minors in inappropriate ways. Whether any of it was true or not, it worked. The more crazy and attention-grabbing she got, the more eyes were on her.
Okay, so schoolie starts in 4 weeks, and I cannot wait to be back on the Gold Coast pleasuring barely legal 18-year-olds.
What Bunnie said about barely legal boys, especially those under 18, was out of line for someone in their mid-20s. It may have gotten her the attention she was looking for, but it also came with a major backlash. People weren't having it, and for good reason. The only thing that saved her, though, was that there was no solid proof to back up her claims. At any time, she could deny the truth of what she said, claiming she only made those controversial comments to create content and get a reaction. While it may have worked in her favor at the time, it's hard to say whether this kind of attention is the kind anyone should be chasing. But before we go any further, let's take a look at some of her outrageous content, so you can see how she was able to get this much fame in such a short time. Bunnie didn't make only one video about being into barely legal boys. She made multiple videos. Sure, it could all be clickbait designed just to get people talking, but who knows? Maybe there's some truth to what she's saying. We can't say for sure. But just think about it. If a man had made those claims, the backlash would have been brutal, and all hell would have broken loose. The cancel culture would have been off the charts. Yet somehow Bunnie seemed to escape with less of a public uproar, and that might be exactly why she kept pushing. If we entertain the idea that she's not joking and she does have an interest in these boys, it leaves us wondering, why would she put something so risky out there, knowing it could get her into serious trouble? What's she trying to gain by making such outrageous statements? The answer is simple. She's doing it all for the views. The more shocking the story is, the more people watch, and the more attention she gets. And if you think that's bold, listen to her claim about making content only for women's sons and husbands. That takes guts. Bunnie also took it a step further with videos aimed directly at schoolboys. In one video, she said something about signing up for 2 weeks of fun. What exactly did she mean by fun? I think we all have our suspicions. After facing a lot of backlash for her constant comments about wanting to be with barely legal boys, Bunnie decided to shift her focus. Instead of targeting younger boys, she started saying she wanted to be with uni students. This change came after she was publicly called out for her behavior and the things she was saying online. In an attempt to make things more interesting, she claimed she had already been with 37 uni students and that her goal was to reach 158. Essentially, she started teasing these young minds, giving them the hope that they might have a chance with her. As Bunnie kept pushing her content centered around uni students, things only got worse. It's likely that she was receiving a flood of DMs from those students, eager to get a chance to be part of her so-called adventure. She made videos of her encounters with these guys and posted them on her OnlyFans account, using them as a way to drive more followers and subscriptions. Eventually, when Bunnie noticed that the views on her uni boys videos were starting to drop and people were losing interest, she quickly shifted things up to keep things fresh and maintain her attention. She claimed it was time for the dads and older guys to have their turn and enjoy the fun of being with her.
Time I extend that fun to the dad.
Up. So instead of just bonking students, today I'm bonking builders, and
That's the extent Bunnie would go to make sure she hold a lot of her audience. She managed to make a lot of money and grab attention with all her interviews and content. But while she was enjoying her newfound fame, there was another side to this story, a rivalry between her and another British OnlyFans creator, Lily Phillips. This was a rivalry that we couldn't ignore. Lily Phillips had been an OnlyFans creator for a lot longer than Bunnie, but she didn't get as much attention early on because she didn't use the kind of shock tactics that Bunnie did to rise to fame. However, as time went on, Lily started picking up on Bunnie's methods to gain some fame for herself. She got closer to Bunnie and the two were seen together on camera, even collaborating on content. During that period, they seemed to be pretty close, and Lily tried to leverage Bunnie's strategy to boost her visibility in the industry.
Hi. So basically, we're looking for a train.
Yeah.
We want to do a big scene. We want to be bent over and we want you to go one after the other in us. Yeah. But if you say you're struggling with it, we'll get on our knees, you go in a circle and cover us. Yeah, you all come in? Yeah. You all got ID with you? Yeah. Okay, come on then.
Having a great time at university.
It would make you proud.
And Bunnie have got countless guys lined up, ready to us. Oh, how many shoes are you guys counting? Wait, whoa, these are all the guys.
During this time, Lily Phillips decided to take things into her own hands and set a challenge for herself. She aimed to bed 100 men in just 24 hours, and shockingly, she succeeded. The entire experience was filmed and documented, turning it into a full documentary. The adult content, of course, was posted on her OnlyFans page as expected. After the challenge was completed, Lily sat down for interviews, explaining how she was able to cope with such an intense and draining experience. In one of those interviews, she broke down in tears while talking to the presenter, admitting that it wasn't easy at all.
I think sometimes feeling so robotic, by the 30th, when we're getting on a bit, I've got a routine of how we're gonna do this, and it just sometimes you'd disassociate and be it's not normal things at all. In my head right now, I can think of 5, 6 guys, 10 guys that I remember, and that's it. But it's just, I don't know, it's just weird, isn't it? If I didn't have the videos, I wouldn't have known I've done 100,
The acts Lily engaged in were so unnatural and far from what most would consider normal behavior. It affected her on a deeper level, and you can see it in the way she carries herself. How could anyone go through something like being with 100 men in a single day and not be affected by it? It's impossible to walk away from an experience like that and stay the same person you were before. The emotional and mental toll such actions would take would show eventually, and it's hard to believe someone could go through that kind of thing. Little did we know that Lily was planning to do something worse.
Because I'm going to be going for the world record early February next year. I'm going to go for it.
Are you still planning to do what I've called the 1,000 man challenge?
The man challenge, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah, so my assistant's currently going through the 5,000 applications we have. They'll be getting, honestly, as quick as possible, in, out. I just want a conveyor belt. We're maybe thinking most, it'll be 17 hours.
So I saw the video of after you did the 100.
Yeah.
And you actually seemed quite distressed.
It's very stressful. I was extremely overwhelmed. A super long, hard, stressful day, and then a camera crew probing me with questions for an hour. You know,
Lily seems to be fully aware of how damaging her first experience with 100 men was for her, but instead of reconsidering her actions or seeking a healthier path, she decides the solution was to go even further, this time with 1,000 men. On top of that, she plans to keep the time short with each of them. It's honestly the peak of stupidity. Or could this idea be coming from someone else? This is where the fight between Lily and Bunnie started. Apparently, Bunnie, who has always been known for her wild and emotionally detached behavior, came up with the idea of betting 1,000 men and shared it with Lily. This claim is alleged, though there's no solid proof that Bunnie was the original person with the idea. What we do know is that Lily was the one who made the idea public and started to prepare to turn it into a reality. It's hard to say how much of it was Bunnie's plan versus Lily's ambitions, but either way, this idea took on a life of its own. Bunnie even claimed that the idea was originally hers and that she shared it with Lily a year earlier when they started as friends. According to Bunnie, she was trying to help Lily gain more visibility by pushing her to adopt a similar style of content. However, things took a turn when Bunnie felt betrayed by Lily, who seemed to copy her. Bunnie didn't hold back, and she took a swipe at Lily's porn prowess, even referencing a video where Lily was seen crying after sleeping with 100 men in one night. Bunnie used it as a way to discredit Lily, implying that she wasn't as strong or capable in the adult content world. Out of frustration, annoyance, and determination, Bunnie Blue, known for her wild nature in the adult world, decided to take on the 1,000 men in a day challenge before Lily could even think any further to do it herself. She was not about to let Lily beat her to it. To make sure she set an unmatchable record, Bunnie added some extra perks to the challenge, making it even more outrageous. She wanted to take the spotlight, showing that she could outdo Lily in a race for attention. Now, the question is, how did Bunnie manage to pull this off in such short time? We'll break down the details of how she made this extreme stunt happen later in this video. The issue Bunnie had with Lily isn't an isolated event. In fact, Bunnie has always seemed to have a problem with other women ever since she started posting content online. Her mindset, which is very troubling, suggests that she sees women more as objects to please the men of this world rather than as individuals with worth and autonomy. This kind of thinking is seen in the way she talks about other women and her approach to content creation. For this reason, one of Bunnie's main sources of criticism comes from decent women who feel that her behavior is a poor example for any woman. These women believe that her actions promote the wrong ideas, and they've been vocal about how she's setting a dangerous precedent. But instead of taking their feedback to heart, Bunnie tends to respond in a way that only makes things worse. She finds ways to make these critics feel even worse whenever they come across her page. Take this video, for example.
Just to remind girls that if your husband is the main actor in the bedroom, there's two reasons. Either one, maybe he doesn't find you attractive anymore, or two, I've replaced that job for you.
Just look at the comments on her video. You'll see just how fired up these women are about what Bunnie is posting. They're not holding back in the slightest. These comments are filled with anger. The reason some commenters were attacking Bunnie for not being able to keep a man tied back to her personal life before she became an OnlyFans creator. Bunnie was married when she first entered the world of online content creation, but in less than 2 years of living this new lifestyle, her marriage started falling apart, and she was on her way to separation. For many people, this quick downfall of her marriage was a way to get at her.
Now you're sleeping with...
Gosh knows.
Dozens a day?
Yeah.
That's,
How life changed.
Did you have a long-term boyfriend?
Yes, got with my partner when I was sort of 14, 15.
And how long was you with him for?
9 years.
Wow. Did he ever propose?
Yes.
Did you accept?
Yes.
Did you get married?
Yes.
Still married?
Still married, going through a divorce.
It's hard to blame the husband in this situation. I don't think any man would be able to just pretend that they're okay with what Bunnie is doing with other men, all in the name of money and attention. Bunnie's stunts were extreme, and it's no surprise that it started affecting her relationship with her husband. When you're living such a life, to the point where it becomes uncomfortable or even disrespectful to your partner, it causes problems.
And how many men had you slept with before you decided to...
5.
You slept with 5 men, and...
Yes.
And what age were these men that you slept with before you got into the industry?
All roughly around my age or sort of a few years above.
So you're 25, you got into the sex industry when you were 24. And so... This time, roughly 18 months ago,
yes,
you'd only ever slept with 5 people.
The numbers are outrageous. Just a year or two before, Bunnie had only been with about 5 people around her age. And then in just 18 months, she went on to be with nearly 2,000 men, including the father and son combination she often boasts about. The interviewer pushed back on her ideas and why he thinks it doesn't make any sense to him.
Have you slept with a father and son at the same time?
Yes, yeah. I think that's brilliant. Like, to have that much of a good relationship with your son, or, you know, for the son to have that much of a good connection with their dad, I think it's fantastic. Too many people, especially 18-year-olds, I know when I was at school, would argue with their dads or wouldn't have a good relationship with them. I think to have that much of a good relationship that you can come with your dad to sleep with me is fantastic.
Yeah, see, this is where it's either you and me on a completely different page, or it's just generations, because I think the father needs his head kicked in for that.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I know you think that, but I think that is one of the most outrageous things I've ever heard, and he needs his checking.
The dad is just a guy himself, and if he wants to be pleasured and have fun in the bedroom, he deserves that as well. So
with his son.
Yeah, so I think why not? If you've got a good connection.
We got more details about Bunnie's marriage in another interview she did. It came as a shock to discover that her husband had a hand in why she entered the OnlyFans industry. He even encouraged and supported her. Please take a look.
You've said that your husband is actually the only reason you had the confidence to sign up for OnlyFans. What did he do to inspire that?
When I saw these TikToks, people doing camming, I was like, I could never do that. I'd never have the confidence, or like people won't want to watch me. I'm not pretty enough, or like I've not got the big and like overly flat stomach and stuff. And he was like, no, like you're beautiful, do it. And I guess gave me the confidence.
Maybe, just maybe, if her husband had been against the idea of her joining the platform, all of this could have been avoided. She wouldn't have been with so many men, and her marriage might have survived.
Are you surprised by that? Because it's not all that common that a man is willing to encourage their girlfriend to make money showing themselves off for other men.
I think at the time, he was under the impression as well, like neither of us wanted to work Monday to Friday, and we wanted more out of life, and we knew continuing to go to our jobs, doing the same, you're not going to break a routine, you're not going to change if you don't make change. And I think him seeing the potential money I could earn doing this was like a step in that.
This is why they say money is the root of all evil. They had a lovely life in marriage, but they thought their daily work and jobs wouldn't give them the kind of lifestyle they were hoping for, so they decided to do the worst for the best.
Direction. He was fully supportive from that side because of the money, and then also was just more than happy for me to give it a go. And at the time I was his, and it was just in a bedroom, it was completely separate, so he had no problem with that.
Did you guys end up making content together at all?
No, so we're actually split up now. Nothing to do with OnlyFans, nothing to do with me in the industry.
She claimed to be innocent before she ventured into the world of OnlyFans, but the pressure to live a life bigger than the norm pushed her there. This might be part of why she's jealous of women in committed relationships with their men, and she continues to throw shade at them whenever she gets the chance.
Slept with a father and son at the same time.
Well, what were the circumstances?
I'd slept with his son a few days before, and obviously the dad got jealous, and he joined the queue a few days afterwards with his son and wanted to experience it himself.
It's not hard to imagine how annoying it must be for a woman to think about the possibility of her husband or son being drawn into Bunnie's world. The thought that the man she loves or her child could potentially be influenced by someone like Bunnie is enough to make any woman despise what she stands for. What makes it worse is that, unlike some other women who might engage in similar behavior for money, Bunnie seems to be doing it to gain attention and followers. This makes her affordable to almost every man in the country. She's not charging for her time in the same way. She's giving it away for free, hoping to get more views and boost her OnlyFans subscriptions.
If your wife keeps scrolling, 18th of December at the Nottingham Forest game, she's going to think you're with the lads, you know, having a day out with the boys. And I can just extend that fun by...
Bunnie knew exactly what she was doing when she told wives to scroll away because the video wasn't for them. That line was almost a guarantee that they'd be even more curious to see what she had to say. And let's face it, any wife who hears that is going to wonder what's so secretive about the video that she's telling them to stay away from it. The moment a woman sees something like that, her mind will naturally start to wonder, what if her husband is secretly watching this lady? It could create doubt, even if there's no reason to be suspicious. For couples, especially those already facing trust issues or tension in their marriage, this kind of content can easily cause more problems. In an interview she attended a while back, Bunnie was asked why she has issues with most married women today. Bunnie had this to say.
If you ask the average person, when's the last time your wife went down on them, they're going to say it's ages ago. They want women's rights and they want things equal, but then they're the ones that want the bills to be paid for. They expect their guy to go and earn more money than them. Then they also want the guy to come home, clean the house, look after the kids. So it's like you can't expect someone to do all of that and then you're not even going to do the...
Bunnie's main point in her video is that when women are married, they feel like they've already secured the commitment they always wanted. And as a result, some of the fun and romance from courtship fade away. To an extent, she's got a point. Some relationships do experience a shift once the honeymoon phase is over. However, she painted it as if this is the case for most marriages, which is where she goes too far. In today's world, the expectations have changed. In many modern marriages, both partners are working and contributing to the household. The responsibilities are shared, and couples often sit down together to agree on how they'll divide their time and tasks. The idea that marriage leads to a staleness where everything becomes routine for the man and doesn't apply to all relationships. In fact, many couples continue to find ways to keep things going by communicating openly, supporting each other, and finding a balance between work and social life. Someone like Bunnie should stay far away from giving marital and relationship advice because it's not for her. In other cases, we've seen her make even more outrageous claims in public. Just listen to what she said here.
I actually think it makes you a better partner because then you can come home, deal with your wife's whinging, you can...
It's honestly hard to wrap your head around how Bunnie could say all of this with such confidence, as if it's completely normal. To some extent, it seems like she believes what she's saying. It's disturbing to think that someone with that kind of mindset could be influencing others, especially young men. When you think about it, it makes sense why she left the corporate world for a career in OnlyFans and explicit content creation. Her mentality aligns more with the attention-seeking that comes with that space. But the reality is that cheating on one's spouse goes against the very vows that were made. Marriage is built on trust and commitment, and breaking that trust to satisfy lust or a lack of self-control should never be considered acceptable. Unfortunately, there are countless stories of marriages falling apart because one partner cheated. The heartbreak and emotional toll of betrayal are real, and it's not something to be taken lightly. If young men were to listen to Bunnie and start to see her views as reasonable, it could lead to some very harmful consequences. It's dangerous for anyone, but especially young minds, to normalize this kind of behavior. Luckily, the host of this particular show challenged her on her views.
So you should be listening to my advice now. Say
your advice is so ridiculous.
I mean, yes, Bunnie's advice is ridiculous to say the least. Bunnie herself isn't married anymore. Maybe if she were still married and showed everyone how successful her marriage was, along with the things she did to maintain it, people might take her more seriously. But she isn't, at least not anymore, and yet now she thinks she's a master of relationships and marriage. Most of her attempts are mainly to annoy married women.
Put my juices on them, so at least when you give them back to your wife.
It's just so wrong on so many levels. No decent man would ever agree to do something like that to his wife. It's disrespectful, plain and simple. Plus, it could lead to some really serious health problems. Bunnie's known for having multiple partners, so there's a chance she could be carrying STDs. If a man goes along with what she's suggesting, he could easily pass those on to his wife. I honestly can't imagine any man who's truly committed to his partner doing something so reckless. It's not just something any reasonable person would even consider. For someone who says a lot of nonsense, it's annoying to see most of these podcasts bringing her onto their platform to make her spew all this kind of rubbish on the internet. What's worse is that she's been invited to numerous TV programs as well.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So, barely legal, 18-year-olds. Because as I started my content, I realized it was not necessarily relatable to the average person. And I wanted to make my content relatable. I'm just a girl, I'm relatable, I'm sort of the girl next door vibes. However, that does not portray online if I'm doing these rough, over-the-top scenes. And I want people to be able to watch my videos and be able to imagine themselves in it and, connect.
It's pretty obvious that Bunnie intentionally chose to niche her content around the idea of barely 18-year-olds to grab attention. She's all about triggering and annoying people just to get noticed, even if it means doing it in an uncomfortable way. She also wanted people to imagine themselves in her videos and connect with videos of boys who are barely 18 years old. I mean, isn't it clear what kind of people she's connecting with? Who, other than PDFs, would connect with such a message?
Learning every day, but my content is educational to those that I'm sleeping with and those that are watching it.
I don't think her content will do much to teach, but it'll be more of a harm to young people in the videos or those watching the video. Her mind is twisted from the normal reality.
Wear
wherever you are, guys or girls or anybody.
Definitely guys, but yeah.
Okay. And they stand outside in a line and then...
A very formal, very British sort of queue style thing, yes.
Right.
Do you never feel frightened? Do you never
I'm
feel
more
intimidated?
nervous, I think, for the first few. I'm like, oh, don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Because you don't know who's going to walk through that door or who's going to be, in the queue. I don't have set requirements for people. So, yeah, I get more nervous, I think, than them for the first.
This is how Bunnie managed to pull off her 1,000 men in a day challenge. She made the announcement and men quickly signed up to participate, eager to be part of the adventure. To make sure everything was above board, she had them provide an ID and sign a waiver consenting to being filmed during the act. In their videos, most of the men's faces are either blurred or covered with masks, likely to protect their identity or just for the sake of anonymity. But this wasn't the first time Bunnie had done something like this. She had previously engaged in similar stunts, having intimate moments with men purely for content.
Hey, who's going first then?
Me.
You're going first. Do you want to spend 2 minutes with me alone or double it and pass it to the next person? So do you want to be nice to your family and give them longer with me, or are you going to be selfish and do 2 minutes?
Selfish.
You're selfish?
Yeah.
And what would you do to me in 2 minutes? Tell me.
Destroy you.
Are you going to destroy me? I think we should put it to the test. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Do you have your ID with you?
Yeah.
Let's go. You recommend me to a friend?
100 million%.
And what about to all your family members that are queuing out there?
Everybody, it's worth it.
Yeah?
It's worth the wait. You're extremely worth the wait. You're sexy as well.
It's hard to wrap your head around, but this is the reality Bunnie is creating. These men who could be someone's boyfriend or husband are willing to have a quick 2-minute fling for the sake of content creation. Some of them clearly don't want to be recognized, which is why their faces are blurred out. But then there are others who don't mind at all. They probably seeing with Bunnie as a privilege, something to brag about, even if it means being part of such a controversial content.
They really bigged you up, you know. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. Did you have fun?
I had an amazing time.
Yeah. Would you do it again?
Every day.
Would you recommend me to a friend?
I'd recommend it to everyone.
Including your dad?
It's wild to think about how some of these men aren't shy about showing their faces, especially considering the kind of content Bunnie is creating. I mean, what is the world turning into with people willing to do anything for a moment of attention or a spot in her videos? One thing I'm curious about is whether during those 2 minutes in the room, the guy allowed her to film him with his face fully visible on camera. That'd be interesting to know, especially since so much of this content ends up on her OnlyFans page. It's a whole world of people making decisions for quick fame, but the long-term impact of those choices is worth considering.
Do you want to spend 2 minutes with me alone or double it and pass it to someone else?
Definitely 2 minutes for you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are you going to do to me in 2 minutes?
Definitely make you happy.
Make me happy?
Yeah.
How are you going to make me happy?
Find out.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's go. Did you have a good time?
It was amazing.
Yeah?
Honestly, I wish I can come back.
You can. Would you recommend me to your friends?
Definitely.
Would you recommend me to your dad?
Maybe.
For Bunnie, it seems like sleeping with so many men for content has never been something that she finds difficult or even irritating. It's just part of the job for her, something she's used to doing. So her ambition to reach the 1,000 men in a day was probably always just a matter of time. With her mindset and the way she approaches content creation, pushing the limits and doing something extreme like this was bound to happen. For her, it might just be another way to grab attention, build her brand, and keep her audience engaged.
Excited. I am going to do a world record of 1,000 men in 24 hours. What if people don't turn up? But if they don't turn up, they don't turn up.
Hey. Have a good time. Like, I don't want it to seem like, I don't know, intimidating.
After Bunnie made the announcement, the turnout was massive. So many men showed up, eager to be a part of the escapade. It was a silly scene with men showing up dressed as if they were about to rob a bank, their faces hidden behind masks or other accessories. Others came dressed in office clothes, clearly rushing over straight after work. And then there were those who didn't even bother with much clothing, just showing up ready to jump into action. Just look at this.
Take a picture of the cock too if you want.
Could this last clip be one of her cues? See how excited they are. Bunnie knew that her challenge would draw a huge crowd, and she was right. Many of the men who showed up were mostly her subscribers, people who had only seen her on screen and probably fantasized about meeting her in person and engaging in these nasty acts. Seeing the opportunity in the massive turnout, she decided to offer an incentive to those who could afford it. She gave them the chance to skip the line, making it clear that money could get them special treatment.
Joke about people queuing, but the queue can be quite long. So on the 2nd and 3rd of January, I'm going to be handing out tickets, which allows you to skip the queue. And then on the 11th of January,
eventually, Bunnie managed to pull off the impossible. She completed 1,057 men challenge in just 12 hours, not even 24, and she had this to say.
I'm the girl that slept with over 1,000 men in 12 hours, and I was not expecting to lose so many rappers inside of me. Like, I literally had to hook them out. Like, it's a good job I'm good at Fisher.
Naturally, the possibility to sleep with this many men led to a lot of questions about the authenticity of the entire stunt. Many people wondered if it was even possible or if there were some tricks involved. The whole thing seemed so extreme that it was hard to believe it was even real. People started asking for expert opinions, and after some analysis, they found that pulling off such a stunt in just 12 hours was almost impossible. If Bunnie were to make this work, she would have to spend less than a minute with each man, and she'd need to keep going non-stop for a full 12 hours. But that doesn't even account for basic needs like taking a bathroom break, resting, eating, or doing anything else in between. After the event, she went live on her page, and her fans asked her a few questions, including how she was able to get rest during the event.
Came down, had a drink. I think my longest break was 3 minutes yesterday. And I took 4 breaks in total.
Let's break down what she claimed. Bunnie said she'd had a 3-minute break during the gangbang, which is 180 seconds. She mentioned taking 4 of these breaks over the course of 12 hours, which would total 12 minutes to rest. If we round the break time to about 15 minutes, that leaves her with 11 hours and 45 minutes of actual activity with the men. Now, if we convert the 11 hours and 45 minutes into seconds, we get a total of 42,300 seconds. Dividing that by the 1,057 men she claimed to have been with means that, on average, she would have spent just around or less than 40 seconds with each man. The logistics of it are just crazy and hard to believe. Pulling off something like this would require stamina, careful planning, and even then, it would be almost impossible to pull off in the way she claimed. She later went on a podcast to share the same analysis we did here and provide more insight into why she had to make it that way.
And how long is each person getting in there?
Actually, down there, about 40 seconds.
That's longer than I expected.
Well, I wish they could have longer, because every time I
Yeah.
meet somebody, I'm like, I want to give them a much longer experience. However, for the 1,000 men, it just wasn't possible. But I was getting very busy with other body parts while someone else was then inside of me, or they had the option to stand and watch.
I thought it was like 3 pumps each and get out of there.
40 seconds, I know it is very quick, but when they're actually inside of you...
40 seconds may be a lifetime for some people.
One question that likely pops up is, why didn't Bunnie allow the men to get more than 40 seconds of her time? Why the rush? She was on a tight schedule, trying to get all 1,000 men in as quickly as possible, but 40 seconds for each man is just way too little. The real reason for her rush, though, might be linked to her rivalry with Lily, as we discussed earlier in the video. Bunnie knows Lily very well, and she understands what Lily can and can't do. She also knows that if she took 24 hours to complete her challenge, Lily could have easily matched or beaten her record. So Bunnie's strategy was to do it in half the time, completing the challenge in just 12 hours. By doing it this way, she made sure that Lily wouldn't have the time to match or outdo her. It was all about staying one step ahead of her competition. Lily reacted to Bunnie's achievement when she got the chance on a podcast she was invited to. She didn't hesitate to throw some shade at Bunnie.
Someone's claimed to do 1,057, but I haven't seen any kind of video for it.
And who's this?
This is another OnlyFans girl.
Oh, we're not saying names?
Nah.
Oh, really?
The reason most people couldn't find the video of Bunnie and the 1,057 men was that OnlyFans took it down shortly after it was uploaded. One of the main concerns was that the ages of all the men involved weren't confirmed, which could have been a violation of their terms and conditions. And given that on many occasions, she has made public her interest in barely 18-year-old boys. So to avoid any issues, the video was taken down. Just watch this video and you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Saga. Do you
want to wait there? Because it's obviously, you probably don't want to see it, do you? If you get me more annoyed. He's coming now. He's coming now. How old's your son? He's 19. Oh, he's just. I don't care how old he lives under my roof. No, that's fair. You have to listen to me. Do you want to just see? I want him to come on, please. Don't let him walk through there, Ollie. Otherwise, I'll get the police to come for him. You know I don't want to call police already.
For some unknown reason, a concerned mother showed up at the event, knowing her son was there and came to take him back home. The only explanation for why she would show up in this kind of situation is likely because her son is still a teenager, even if he's of age to make his own decisions. She sounded really worried and made it clear that he lives under her roof, claiming that if things didn't go the way she wanted, she'd call the cops. It seemed like she was doing everything in her power to get him out of there, feeling she had no other choice but to intervene. Bunnie later in an interview gave more context about what happened at the event and why the mother was there in the first place.
When I did the 1,000, somebody brought their mum to the gangbang. And I've had people bring, like, I've had father and son before, but never mother and son. And yeah, I finally slept with the son, took his virginity, and then the mum realized what was going off, and she was like, no, like, you need to leave.
That's beautiful. That's like a Mother's Day kind of a celebration.
Bunnie spoke about it as if it wasn't a big deal, and it's even shocking that the boy was a virgin at the time. I doubt the mother knew what kind of event she was bringing her son to. The boy probably lied about the purpose of the event. It's possible that he told her he was going there to catch up with some friends and have some time with his mate. The mother probably noticed the oddities of the environment after dropping him off, especially with the queue of desperate-looking men wearing face coverings. She likely decided to investigate what was going on inside. And to her surprise, it was a gangbang event, and she had single-handedly brought her son to it. What Bunnie and Lily are doing with these wild stunts has caused more harm than good, especially when it comes to how they're influencing younger people. When young minds see how successful and rich these creators have become by doing crazy things like this, it might inspire them to follow in their footsteps. They might think it's a way to get fame and money, not realizing the serious consequences that come after. There's even been an incident in Turkey where an OnlyFans creator announced plans to do exactly what Lily did, hitting the 100 men in a day mark. This led to a lot of controversies, and the Turkish creator was arrested for it by the authorities. I know some of you would be thinking about what people close to Bunnie would feel about what she's doing online with her body. She addressed this in a podcast with a friend of hers.
1,057.
A number I am very proud of.
Something your parents should be proud of, actually.
100%. You'll think I'm joking. Well, you won't. You've met my mum and dad now, so, like, he knows they're not joking. Like, I'm not joking when I say it, but, like, my family are so proud of what I do.
I don't want to be too judgmental, but I honestly don't think anyone close to Bunnie would fully support what she does, at least not 100%. Maybe she helps them out with bills and takes care of her family with the money she makes online, and that could be why they choose to look the other way and overlook her choices. It wasn't always like this. She started off as just a regular OnlyFans creator before becoming the online sensation she is now. If it means pretending to be okay with what she's doing, I'm sure they would go along with it. They probably know that if they push too hard or try to make her stop, they could risk losing her completely. And that's a tough pill to swallow, especially for parents. She's old enough to make her own decisions, and they know that if they don't support her, she could cut them off without hesitation. We have situations like that where parents are completely ignored because they chose not to support their child's way of life. Luckily, I was able to get a clip of an interview with both Bunnie and her mother in attendance.
Hearing all these stories that your daughter is saying.
It's just part of a job, it's her.
If you look at her mother's body language, it's pretty clear that she's not fully comfortable acknowledging what her daughter does. She didn't even try to keep a smile on her face. She accepted that it was just her job, and as long as it paid the bills, she'd deal with the fallout and consequences later. She's trying to put on a brave face, maybe even convincing herself that it's okay because it's bringing in money and fame. Until she was asked how she felt about it, she wouldn't have given a positive response.
How does it make you feel, though?
I'm proud of her. I don't mind.
So even when you hear, that she slept with 158 guys in, was it a week?
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
It's just part of a job and that's it.
So you don't have any kind of, emotional response to it?
No, at first I did, but not anymore.
It right there. Eventually her mother admitted that she had always felt negative emotions about what her daughter was doing. She probably made her feelings known to Bunnie, expressing her dissatisfaction with the choices she was making. But Bunnie wasn't about to change her ways, so her mother was left with a tough choice of either continuing to disapprove and risk losing her daughter, or reluctantly supporting her, even if it went against her personal values, just to maintain their relationship. It's heartbreaking when a parent is faced with a situation like this, where they have to choose between standing their ground and possibly losing contact with their child, or swallowing their pride and accepting something they don't agree with to keep the connection intact.
So you see, Bunnie, when you told your parents what you do, how did that conversation go?
I actually didn't tell her. A video got leaked.
Look at her mother's face. Look at how she reacted when her daughter answered the question about how her parents found out she was creating content such as this. I love how these guys were very respectful in how they asked the questions, because if they had been even a little offensive or disrespectful, Bunnie's mother might have lost her cool on the spot.
I would have always told her, but like I'd only just started, so I wasn't ready to explain why I've chose to do this job. And you sort of had someone explaining it, my sister explaining to my mum.
Right, and how did you react to that?
I was gutted at first, I really was. It was shock. I was really shocked because...
From how her mother spoke, she's still hurting from the shock. But, you know, she has to pretend she's fine with it now, as her daughter has made peace with the reality of her life. Just when we thought there was nothing else that could surprise us about Bunnie's life, she managed to prove us wrong. Recently, the internet was rocked with the news that Bunnie is pregnant. Naturally, this raised so many questions. Who's going to be the father? How will this affect her career and content? There's no shortage of curiosity surrounding this news, and Bunnie didn't hold back in capitalizing on the situation.
Just 8 months' time, I'm so excited to do the world's biggest live stream.
It's just sad to think that a child would be brought into this world this way because of his mother's greed and attention-seeking attitude. Did she even consider how ridiculous live streaming the birth of her child sounds?
Of a birth.
Some women struggle to get pregnant, which is horrible, and I have a lot of spare, so I want to help resolve that.
People are saying that she's lying about the whole thing, which is very possible. Bunnie is known for doing anything to get people's attention, so something like a fraudulent pregnancy isn't far-fetched. The other thing that crosses my mind while watching this video is the question of kids. Bunnie was with her ex-husband for a long time, almost a decade. Did they have any kids during their time together? If they did, how will the kids react to her behavior online, now or in the future? Later on, when she saw that people were reacting negatively to the way she was conducting herself regarding the pregnancy, she came out to shift the narrative, calling it a rumor and promising not to bump into barely legal 18-year-olds while she was pregnant.
I will not be stopping bonking barely legals when I'm pregnant. In fact, I'm super excited to live stream the birth. And the girl that's up with 1,057 men, and it's rumoured that I'm pregnant. I'm just asking for a friend, but like, how quickly do you think I'll be able to push this baby out?
After a while, Bunnie got tired of the whole thing and decided to confess, telling everyone the truth about the entire pregnancy saga.
I'm the girl that's up with 1,057 men, lost condoms inside of me, but no, I am not pregnant. Instead, I want to turn these rumours into a positive and pay for somebody's IVF journey.
She first pushed the narrative that it was all a rumor, even though she was the one who started the whole thing in the first place. Now she's claiming she wants to turn it into something positive by paying for women's IVF because they were having trouble having children. Bunnie continues to amaze us with her online stunts and lies just to keep up with the attention she's getting. Over the past few months, she's only gotten worse, always coming up with new ideas to provoke and gain more negative popularity for her OnlyFans page. Maybe she'll have a rethink in the future, who knows? But I just don't see that happening.